about the operation management, whether it is for preschools or any other business, there must be a structured way of operation management. In that way, one of the very important technique that we follow in operation, that is called 5S technique. This 5S technique is basically derived from a Japanese operation plan, and since it has been followed in many international organizations, this 5S technique is considered to be very effective in all kinds of business operations. So today we'll just try to understand how this 5S operation can optimize the whole thing in a preschool setup. Now, as I said, that this 5S operation is coming from a Japanese technique. Very first S is Seiri. Seiri in Japanese is called sorting. The sorting and other things will be understanding while we go further in this presentation. But first S is Seiri, which is the meaning called sorting. Second S is Seiton. In Japanese, Seitan means setting in order. Details we'll understand one by one. Third S is the Seiso. Seiso in Japanese is called signing. Fourth S is Seiketsu, and Seiketsu in Japanese is known for the standardization. Fifth S is Shitsuke, and Shitsuke in Japanese is the sustaining way. Now, combining this 5S technique, there are four kind of benefits we'll be getting in our preschool operation. First benefit would be the improve in the quality of work. The various work we do in our preschool, starting from teaching plans, starting from skill building exercises, starting from the assessment. If we follow this 5S technique, we can improve the quality of all the work that we do in a preschool setup. Second benefit we'll be getting out of this 5S technique is that we can optimize the productivity. Productivity is the total amount of efforts we put, and in return, whatever we get, that is called productivity. Now, if we have four teachers and we want to achieve uh, four into multiplication of the four teachers, and if we follow this 5S, definitely we can improve the productivity that each teacher puts in the preschool operation. Third benefit out of this 5S technique would be improvement in the performance delivery. So when we provide a particular service, something is expected in terms of its performance. So the performance quality, performance delivery standards will definitely improve by following this 5S technique. And finally, this 5S technique will improve the overall safety of the children in a preschool setup. So we'll go one by one to each and every uh, 5S and see that how we can adapt this technique in a preschool setup. Number one is the Seiri, which is the sorting. Sorting means that everything we do in a preschool setup must be structured in a certain way. And by doing this sorting, we can eliminate unnecessary items or processes which we follow in a preschool setup. Now, by doing this Sairi or by following these sorting exercises in a preschool setup, what we can going to do is that either we can sort things class-wise or we can sort things skill-wise. Since operational OS, we manage the classes or we manage the skills, then what we can do, we can sort things for each and every class-wise. Or we can sort skill wise, meaning if we are following four classes, let's say playgroup, nursery, LKG, and UKG, then we can sort things for each class under nursery, what we are going to do, under LKG, what we are going to do, accordingly we can sort it out. Or if we follow certain skills and same skill is being followed for each class, then we can sort things as per the skill wise. By sorting things, we become very, very clear what exactly we are going to do for a particular class or particular skill. Now, second thing is that make weekly plans well in advance. So when we talk about sorting, we are thinking about bringing clarity. If we make weekly plans well in advance, then things becomes much easier for us to follow and to do. Now, why I am talking about weekly plan in advance? If we know next 5 days, Monday we are going to do this, Tuesday we are going to do this. By doing so, we are sorting the activities day wise. The moment we are sorting the things or activities day wise, it becomes very, very clear to each and every person in the preschool. So when they come on a certain day, they know what are the things to be done on that particular day. So there will be less ambiguity. So there will be less confusion when things are sorted in a right manner. Third thing, what we are going to do is that sort all the activities for easy access. One of the major quality related operational plan is that the easy way getting access to things, the better will be the operation. Sometimes you may experience while you search for certain things in either at workplace or at home, and if you do not get those things immediately and easily, your things are getting delayed and you become quite irritated. The moment you become quite irritated, then your energy is drained out and your focus on the activities, your focus on that particular thing gets affected. So if we sort things under this first S or sorting technique, then we keep all these things well in that particular place so that immediately we can access to those things, we can get those things. And once we get those things easily, then our focus will be much more on that activity rather than spending and wasting our time searching things here and there. So this becomes a very, very handy rule for all the preschools if we can plan weekly activities, and for each activities for each day can be put in a very, very sorted manner so that we can access them without any difficulty. Four things under this first S, which is sorting, we can sort activities from easy to hard. This is another thing. Most of the preschools we commit mistake by doing activities randomly. Under each activity, we have discussed lot of techniques uh, in preschool setup, including that children will be doing things which are easy for them rather than having a activity which has lots of confusion in it. So when we teachers do things in a school setup without understanding the child's response to a particular activity, we try to put them in the school setup. So in the process, what happens? Children, they lose interest and their involvement in the activity as well as their involvement in the skill building process becomes less and less. So if we can sort the activities uh, in a way so that easy things can come fast and hard things will come later, then it will be a great help to the preschools and preschool activities. So if we do these four things, we are sure we'll be having this first S, which is sorting technique that can be easily and effectively implemented in the school setup. Now moving to the second S, which is Satan or putting things in order. As we have discussed in our earlier sessions, that when we create some value and try to deliver this value to the parents and to the skill development of the child, then we do expect certain things from the school. And also, we expect that parents will perceive those values in a right perspective and pay the right value for those activities. Now, preschools, there are many preschools in your vicinity, and you will find some of the schools they charge very high, and in return, parents are happy to pay them. In other schools, they charge very less, but still parents are hesitant to pay that small amount. It's because of the perception of the value that is being delivered by a school to the parents. Now, this technique and this S, which is setting things in order, will help you to make parents realize that the value that the school is providing is the right and they perceive it in an optimal way. And what we can do for this, we can set in order all the activities and syllabus. If there is one thing that parents would be ready to pay for the value that school is providing, that will be the structure of the activities and structure of the syllabus. If the syllabus is well structured, it's put in order, then parents' perception towards that will be better and vice versa. So, if the schools are not putting their syllabus and activities very structurally in ordering format, then it is very important for them to do it without further delay so that you can create a better perception among the parents. Now, how to do it? There are multiple ways to do it. For example, as I said, if activities has to be done, all the activities will put under one umbrella for the communication skills. All the activities should be put for cognitive skill under one bucket. So like this, everything has to be set in order. Similarly, for syllabus, if it is a activity-based syllabus, then how the syllabus is structured and put in order. So all these things has to be done. And if you need a further support, how to put the activities and syllabus in order, we'll be supporting you. We can talk to you in a separate session. Then second thing, what you can do to achieve putting things in order, making structured teaching plans. Now, first thing is that putting the syllabus in order. That's very important. And once the syllabus are put in order, then we have to convert them into teaching plans. If teaching plan is not put in order, we are not sure what we are going to teach in a particular day, then this will create lot of ambiguity and lots of confusion. And if it is structured and placed in order, we can know that what we need to do, pick the things and get the things done in the activity level or at the skill building level. So second thing is that we have to structure all the teaching plans. Third thing under this is what we can do, we can keep binders for each situation. Now, what you can tell me, you can may ask that what is a binder? Binder is a document which can tell you what to do in what situation. I'll give you one example. Suppose you have made a teaching plan that on Monday I'll be taking this phonetics of letter, various English letters. Then question comes how to do this. If I want to build a skill among children for the phonetics, question comes how do I do it? And here school can build a binder. The binder can be named as the skills for phonetics or how to manage phonetics among children. So it will be a very small binder including step 1 to step 5, what the teachers can do for that particular activity. So if schools can put binder for each and every skill, binders for each situation. For example, a child is continuously crying when coming to the school. Now, what to do? There must be a binder. A binder is there, anybody can go and refer to that. In that situation, what can be done? What best can be done? So it is helping the teachers to refer immediately rather than reaching out somebody who can help. So here this becomes a part and parcel of the school operation, that the school has got a, a, a document what to be done in a difficult situation or a situation where the teacher is not very confident to handle. Then finally, the fourth thing we do in this case is that make sure you have a process. Processes are the founding stone, and it's the founding point for a school to build something very, very valuable. If there is a process, believe me, each and every teacher will have confidence in communicating things to the stakeholders, including parents. The moment teachers are confident, then parents can definitely derive value in that. If there is not a process, it may happen if teacher is communicating something today, tomorrow the same teacher will communicate the same thing differently, which may be having a complete different meaning altogether. So for that matter, if we want to put our school in order, we have to do these four things so that we bring that right perspective on the value delivery that we do through our school. Now we'll move to our third S, and third S talks about say so, which means signing the things. Signing the things is all about making it looking new on everyday basis. Now, under this signing, what we are trying to achieve is that our school props or different properties we use as a part of the activities and other activity items updated. That while we do lots of activities, they may be looking neat and clean, they may be looking new, and they may be updated from all aspects. Now, when things are clean, when things are looking new, then we get additional motivation to spend time with that. For that purpose, we keep on doing signing part at our place, at our home setup, also on a day-to-day basis. If things are lying absolutely haphazardly, we do not get that benefit or do not get that motivation that we should get while we spend time into something. To achieve this, we have to do four simple things in our school setup. First thing we need to do is that update all the processes regularly. Now there are new activities we keep adding into our school operation. So we have to make sure that any process we use for development of a particular skill or doing a particular activity as a part of school operation, we update them in a regular interval. It could be 6 months, it could be 1 quarter, it could be even 1 year. But important thing is that we should keep those processes updated. If we have defined a process as to be revisited, reviewed once in a year, you set a date, and on that particular date you need to review them and you need to update them. This is one thing, and I am sure you understand what a process is. If you do not have better idea what a process is, please do write to us. We'll try to do one specific session on how to write a process and how to follow a process. Second thing under signing or this part of S in operation is that we must keep the classroom neat and clean. Make it a point every day that when the school is over, the cleaning must be there after each and every class. Every desk has to be put in that position where it has to be put. All the items has to be kept in that shelf where it has to be kept. So after the class gets over, all these things should look as fresh as it looks before starting up the day in your school. This is so important, and it is the the nervous point of any school operation. When the children enters into a class, they should feel that freshness by looking things around, uh, nice, neat, and clean. So this is very, very important, and most of the schools we do not give importance towards that. Please, the school administrators, if you are managing a school, ensure you follow a process. After the class gets over, everything should be in the right place. If one class gets over, another set of children will come to the class. Make sure that you put the class in signing mode before the next batch of children gets into the class. Third thing under this is what we can do is that reduce waste in activities. We do quite a lot of activities. It could be art and craft activity. It could be a lot of other things we do in a school setup. And in the process, we waste a lot of material. Now, once the material is wasted, it will be having burden on your finance. It may be having a burden on your cash flow as well, because we do not give importance to a small amount of activity items getting wasted because we feel that it's small. But if you accumulate all these things, all the day's activities together for a year, the wastage will be very high, and the money that is getting wasted through this wastage will also be very, very high. So when we think about signing things under this S of operation, one of our objective is to reduce the cost of the operation. And by doing so, we may save quite a lot in our preschool operation. And fourth thing, what we need to do is that create guidelines for everything. When we signing things, how the things has to be done on a daily basis, we should have a guideline that which activity or which uh, thing has to be done in which way. So if that will be there, then definitely the wastage will be less, and the school can save quite a lot of money in the process. Then we'll be moving to the next S. Next S is Seiketsu. Seiketsu is the standardization in Japanese. So standardization deals with protocols. Standardization deals with standard operating processes. Standardization deals with rules and regulation that the school defines in running their school. It could vary from school to school. It could vary from place to place. But important thing is that as a school, you should have a set of protocols, policies, and regulations, and you should not compromise on them. So to have them, what are the four things we need to do? First, first and foremost is that update all the processes regularly. That what you have done in the previous S, you continue to do that. Processes are important, processes are dynamic, so processes has to be changed on a regular basis. Second thing what we need to do is that keep the classrooms neat and clean. That's what we have been doing, and that's what we keep a rule for that purpose. So there is little bit of overlapping of things since we do the operation. And how to keep the rooms neat and clean, you need to keep a rule, you need to bring one protocol that yes, after each class within 5 minutes it has to be done. If it is a part of the process, it's a part of the protocol, it's a part of the rule, then it will be done without much difficulty. Have protocols and standards. There must be protocols. Protocols is that doing things in the same way every time you do that thing. And standard is the a benchmark that you must achieve this way. If you say that your standard is that you will be having at least 2 hours of uh, uh, playing activity every day, that becomes a standard. You say that in a classroom there should not be more than 10 children, that becomes a standard. You should not have that tolerance if a class will be having 11 children. So that kind of things, you call it rules, regulations, standards, protocols. This is the thing you follow and maintain at your school. It has to be documented and it has to be followed without any compromise. And fourth one is that have rules for the school and parents. Having rules, following them will create a strong culture for your school. And also it will provide quite supporting environment to make the operation easy and effective. And parents' expectation, parents' behavior will also be managed by having protocols, rules, and regulations. Then we'll move to the final S, which is Shitsuke. Shitsuke is sustaining. What are the 4 S you have done in your school so far? This S, as the last S, ensures you sustain with everything. Human behavior is such that it's not difficult to start a thing. It's very easy. Most of the schools, they can write a process, they can have set up rules, they can have protocols, they can have standards. But once it comes to doing the thing again and again without breaking a rule, it becomes little difficult. So sustaining is important as far as new ideas are concerned, new way of functioning of the school is concerned. So all these things has to be followed, even if it sounds very repetitive, but sustaining them will create value. Under this, we have to do 4 things. First one is build a culture for the school. Culture is doing a particular thing again and again becomes a culture. If you respect the mousy in a school, the way you respect to a teacher, that becomes a culture. Doesn't matter what a mousy does, but the mousy deserves respect and the mouse gets that respect. And if you, as an administrator, ensures through a rule, ensures through a process, ensures through a protocol, then it will be becoming sustaining. Simply telling that respect each other will not be possible. It can be possible through some reorientation, through some enforcement, and we as the administrators has to ensure all these things put in place so that we are building a culture. Culture is doing a particular thing for a longer period of time, it becomes a culture. Just doing 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, it is not going to happen. So I always say to schools where I work with various schools that from day one, if you start something good, and your job as an administrator is to check that the same thing is happening on a daily basis. Doesn't matter how small this work, and this small thing will create such a big impact in longer term, you will never believe that kind of benefit is accrued for a longer period of time. Second thing, we need a regular training on the core of the school functioning. What is the core? Core of a preschool is the capability of a teacher in building skill in the children. So this is the core of operation on of your school. And if you are not sustaining this particular core competency of your school, doesn't matter how and what other things you do better, your school as an organization will never thrive in future. Make sure that you have a very, very strong and structured training plan for each and every teacher in a given interval on new things, how they can develop themselves and sustain that skill for a longer period of time. Third thing as an administrator you have to do is that conducting regular audit. Why audit? As we said that we have to do certain things on a regular basis, even if it is repetitive in nature, it is sometimes boring in nature, but we have to do it. If every day there must be prayer, it has to be done without a single day's missing of that prayer. If morning meeting has to happen, if round circle time has to happen, it has to happen without even missing a day's circle time. So if it is happening or not happening, as an administrator, if you have to ensure, you have to introduce internal audit system. Audit system can be done in many ways. Sometimes even your teachers and other staff members, without realizing the audit is happening, you can do the audits. Audit is the informal or formal way of checking that if all the things those were defined to happen in a regular basis, they are happening in the school on a regular basis. And finally, what you need to do, you have to think the continual improvement on a day-to-day basis and on a regular basis. Continual improvement will be possible if previous things are done on a regular basis. If some of these things you decide to do on a given day and without making that things to happen or to continue in your school for certain period of time, you cannot bring a new things as a part of your school operation to continue as a part of improvement plans. It's never going to happen. You have to ensure certain things are happening on a regular basis, on a continual basis, then only you will be able to put another things. So remember one thing here, if something is not becoming a culture, becoming a part and parcel of the school operation, you cannot bring continual improvement. It cannot, yesterday you have decided to do something and today also you are deciding to do something else. It cannot happen in a school setup. It will only create confusion. So when you bring certain things as a part of continual improvement, make sure those things are getting into previous 4S. They are becoming a process, they are becoming a protocol, they are becoming a rule, they are becoming a reinforcement. And once all these things will be implemented and run for certain period of time and you are satisfied all these things are bringing results, then only you can bring a new thing. You cannot bring new things on a daily basis, but you can do your audit, you can build your training, you can build a culture building activities on a daily basis of certain ideas what you have already decided to make them as a part of your school. So these are the 5S of operation on the preschool. I'm sure these 5S will give you quite a lot of insight to change the operation plan of your school. And if you follow these 5S, I'm sure your school will thrive to bring better value, better skill to all of your stakeholders, and your preschool as a business unit will create quite a lot of impact in the society. Thank you very much, and we'll meet in our next session.